Well, looks like we got the first batch of Kingdom Hearts 4 rumors. Let's get into it. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is MooseWin1 and welcome back to another Kingdom Hearts video. So, in this video, I'm actually trying something a little new. Now, if you read the title, this isn't actually a theory, but sort of news and speculation. And leave a like if you want to see more content like this, or if you'd like to see more theory videos as well, because I do have more of them in the works for you guys as well. And if you want to see more quality Kingdom Hearts content, speculation, discussions, make sure you subscribe to the channel, support your boy, and turn on that notification bell. So it looks like we're already starting to get our first batch of Kingdom Hearts 4 rumors. On KH Insider, there was a rumor reported by a user on Twitter named Vulane, sorry if I butchered that if you're watching this, and if that name sounds familiar, that's actually the user that gave us the news that Disney Plus is working on an animated show for the Kingdom Hearts series earlier this year. But this time around, we have the first rumor about the Disney worlds in the next major Kingdom Hearts games, most likely being Kingdom Hearts 4. This world is honestly one of the most likely, as it is a very recent Disney film and has two Princesses of Heart residing in it. That's right, Frozen 2 is the first world to be rumored in Kingdom Hearts 4. And honestly, we all kind of saw this coming because Frozen is one of the bigger, more famous Disney properties at the moment, and the game that is likely to be Kingdom Hearts 4, as the article states, started production in November 2019. Now that's also the same time Frozen 2 released, and it was sort of the height of its popularity, so honestly, I feel like it's a shoo-in for Kingdom Hearts 4 or whatever the next major Kingdom Hearts game is going to be. Also, we can't forget that Anna and Elsa are both a part of the new Princesses of Heart, or the new Seven Hearts. And if you ask me, I'm excited to see if Frozen 2 makes it in because Frozen 2 is honestly a pretty good movie. I saw it in theaters not expecting much, but I was actually pleasantly surprised because I genuinely enjoyed it. But in the case of Kingdom Hearts, it's been pretty divisive. Some people see Frozen as an alright world, and some people see it as a disappointment. Because if we're being honest, there were a lot of missed opportunities in the Frozen world in Kingdom Hearts 3. Most of the game was spent running up and down the mountain, and if I'm being honest, Marshmallow had a really cool team attack, but I really wish we could have fought with Elsa instead. And also, one of the photo missions in the game after you beat the world is to go back and take a picture of Elsa's ice castle, and honestly, it would have been cool to just go inside, maybe find a treasure chest or something, but you're really just standing there and watching them stand around after you beat the world, which is honestly a little disappointing to me. Also, the main villain, Hans, had little to no build up at all, and got one of the coolest Heartless designs in the game, which was honestly kind of weird. Now, I say all this, but it wasn't a bad world by any means in my opinion. Sora, Donald, and Goofy weren't intertwined in the story a whole lot because they were busy going up and down the mountain, but if we're being honest, that's where most of the movie takes place, with a few scenes in Arendelle. But that also could be because Disney had a lot of say as far as where the story went. They probably didn't want to have their most popular Disney movie in recent memory messed up by turning Elsa into a Heartless or something like that. And while it was a little disappointing in some ways, it honestly wasn't the worst Disney world we've ever seen. That title goes to Deep Jungle from Kingdom Hearts 1. Because honestly, the world music and the battle music are actually some of my favorites in the game as far as Disney worlds go. It's not the best world by any means, but at the same time, I would be excited for a Frozen 2 world in Kingdom Hearts 4. And I won't spoil you, but if you haven't seen it, you definitely should. There's a lot of potential for great boss fights and great exploration aspects in the forest area, and if Disney let loose on the reins a little bit, a Frozen 2 world in Kingdom Hearts 4 could definitely blow fans out of the water. And that being said, this actually got me thinking of other worlds I'd like to see in Kingdom Hearts 4, so I actually just kind of want to list some of the worlds that I'd like to see in the next game. There are a lot of properties from Disney from the sort of 90s to early 2000s Disney movies, and even some newer movies that could use some love, and some new properties that I think would tie in well, or some worlds that honestly I just think would be fun. First world up, I would love to see a Treasure Planet world in the next major Kingdom Hearts game. Honestly, in my opinion, it's a pretty underrated Disney movie. I watched it recently and it actually holds up pretty well most of the time, and I'd love to see Sora, Donald, and Goofy ride along with Jim and the crew as they go on adventures as space pirates. And we already know Sora is a huge fan of being a pirate, as we've seen in the Caribbean with Captain Jack Sparrow. It'd be nice to see Sora and the gang become space pirates and maybe, mention Jack at some point, like, oh, Jack would love this, or something like that. It wouldn't be similar to the Lilo and Stitch space world that was in Birth by Sleep because there's not really a central location in that movie. They could pull a Kingdom Hearts 1 Neverland and have it take place entirely on the ship, but if they do, it would have to have great level design. I don't know what it is, but I'm not a fan of worlds that take place in locations like that because I really just did not like Neverland in Kingdom Hearts 1. I could see this Treasure Planet world taking place partly in the spaceport, part of it takes place in the ship, and the last part takes place on the actual Treasure Planet. Seeing Sora, Donald, and Goofy become space pirates and actually searching for treasure could be a great way to have one of the lesser known Disney movies get some love and take us to space with the boys. And it'd be awesome to see Sora do that space version of parasailing or hoverboarding or whatever happens in the movie, because it was so cool to watch it happen in the movie. Maybe it could be like a mini game for the world that like every Kingdom Hearts game needs. Because after Kingdom Hearts 3 got rid of skateboarding, we will need something to take its place. If we're being entirely honest, that was one of the biggest tragedies in Kingdom Hearts 3, because San Francisco would have been perfect for skateboarding. I don't know why they took that away. Rest in peace, skateboarding.
All around me are familiar faces, worn out.
Another world I'd like to see is actually a Princess and the Frog world. And there are actually a couple reasons for this pick as well. So, first off, in Kingdom Hearts 3, we got introduced to the new Princesses of Heart, as you guys know. And those princesses are Kairi, Rapunzel, Anna, and Elsa. We're still short 3 Princesses of Heart, and since Tiana is actually a princess after marrying Naveen, she could be one of the new 7 Hearts introduced in the next game. It was a little weird to have them introduce the concept of the new 7 Hearts in Kingdom Hearts 3, but actually not meet all of them, but it's fine because it gives us something to at least look forward to in the next game. Having Sora, Donald, and Goofy go on adventures in the city and swamp of New Orleans would actually be really fun. And it worked out pretty well as far as villains go, because Dr. Facilier actually works with voodoo magic and all that, so that could pretty easily tie into the concept of darkness that we know in the Kingdom Hearts universe. We could play as, Frog Sora, which honestly sounds kind of gross, but I'd rather play as regular Sora with Lewis as a companion, like going down the swamp to help out Tiana and Naveen. And we could also have a music-based team attack with Lewis, like throw a little Melody of Memory in your Kingdom Hearts 4 there. But another reason I'd like to see this world is to actually hear the world music. Because for the most part, Kingdom Hearts music has been mostly classical with maybe a bit of rock influence in there as well, but for the most part, that's really been it. But with this world, since the music seems to fit the style of the world like we saw in Mulan, I would like to see what Yoko does with this sort of jazzy style of 1920s New Orleans. We sort of get that in the new Melody of Memory of Dearly Beloved with that sort of big band style, and I'd like to hear it build on that and expand the style of Kingdom Hearts music, not because it needs to be expanded, but because I love the new Dearly Beloved and I'd like to see a new world with some different music. Because if anyone can do it justice, it would definitely be Yoko Shimomura. And also, the music in that world is actually great, and I just want to hear it in Kingdom Hearts, I'm gonna be honest with you. Another world I personally think is gonna make it in is actually Wreck-It Ralph as well. I could honestly see this making it in because it's already a world in Union Cross and Ralph was a summon in Kingdom Hearts 3, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. And if we're being honest, Wreck-It Ralph was actually one of my favorite movies when I was younger, and with it getting a sequel recently, it could be one of the worlds we see in the next major Kingdom Hearts game. It could be the case of a summon in one game getting a fully fleshed out world in the next one, kind of like we had Simba and Mushu as summons only in Kingdom Hearts 1 and Chain of Memories, and then they got full fleshed out worlds in Kingdom Hearts 2. And with Wreck-It Ralph having 2 movies in the original and of course Ralph Breaks the Internet, you have to wonder which one they'd actually choose. The second one wasn't terrible by any means, but honestly, part of me hopes that they do the first one, because if they did the second one, they'd have to do the whole internet thing and they'd have to do everything in there, and I kind of want them to stick to the arcade. It'd be really cool to sort of play those different games like a classic Kingdom style thing, but in-game. Or maybe Fix-It Felix, but Sora there as well, because that'd be really cool. I remember when the first movie came out, they had Fix-It Felix out on mobile phones, but they actually took it off, and that made me really sad, because that game was so fun. So who knows, maybe I just want it back. They'd have to be really careful though, because there are a lot of other licensed characters in there, like Sonic, Hubert, and all those other characters. So they'd have to be pretty careful and only keep movie original characters in there. And they could also have a sort of racing mini game as well for Sugar Rush, like the Rumble racing we got in Birth by Sleep. And I feel like we'd have either Ralph or Vanellope in the party and fight some sort of heartless Cybug boss. Or maybe because there have been Darklings in the Union Cross world in Wreck-It Ralph, we could have some mention of them or maybe some remnant of a Darkling in that world as well, so that could happen too. And also, Vanellope technically is a princess, so she could be one of the new 7 Hearts as well, so that could be a thing that happened. But honestly, these are just some of the worlds that I want to see in the next major game, but let me know which worlds you'd like to see down below in the comments. Also be sure to let me know if you want to see stuff like this or more theory videos or anything like that for future videos. And if you like this, don't forget to leave a like down below, and also do not forget to subscribe to the channel to support your boy. My name is MooseWayne1, and remember, stay strong, remain humble, and keep moving forward.